May 1st, 2025 ARB meeting. Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Noel, if you could do the roll.
Sure.
Call the roll, please.
Laurel Gaffney. Here. Tony Mastrola.
Here.
Laura Raffiani.
Here.
And Sylvia Luca is absent tonight.
All righty. So tonight's business, well, first I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes. We have enough of a quorum, right, for
Yes.
who was here last?
Yes, we had a full board last
So I'd
time.
like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the March 13th, 2025 meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, very good. And new business, application 25-24, LT Eastchester LLC at 750 White Plains Road. Welcome.
Thank you. So my name is Gerald Birmingham. I work for the owners of 750 White Plains Road, the former Lord & Taylor store that's currently under renovation for medical use, has an existing Saks Off Fifth store, and to which we anticipate and have additional tenants looking to come in. And by virtue of the previous applications that we've had approved, and what we're looking to accomplish in some changes to the elevations and look to the building in some minor ways, we wanted to be in front of this board to depict them and have available our architects, engineers, to answer any questions and give the presentation of what that look would be so that the board can render their opinion on it.
Please take the mic with you towards the easel so that those at home can hear.
You want to stand?
Wonderful. So we'll start off.
My name is Glenn Leitch. I'm one of the principals at Howland Associates.
Yeah.
And
Can you just speak into the mic because we have a stenographer who will take a transcript.
Into the mic, please.
oh, okay. Hi, my name is Glenn Leitch. I'm one of the principals at Highland Associates, architect, engineer that's working on the project. This is Michaela Giacomazzi, who is the project manager, who will continue with the presentation.
Thank you for the introductions, Glenn. So as we'll start off, we have the overall site plan and the area that we plan to do our work in. And then we show different angles of the building, how it currently is today, including some of the improvement that White Plains Hospital has been doing. And then we go into our civil plans that involve, we're going to be putting in a trash enclosure into the back of the building and some minor site grade curb work. Paul, do you want to speak a little more to that?
Good evening. For the record, Paul Dumont with JMC. Okay, good. So we can see that. So in order to accommodate, the subdividing the building for the various tenants, the slab on the east side of the building is going to be lowered to its original elevation. It was previously raised to accommodate Lord & Taylor. So on that side of the building, there are some existing steps that will be removed. So that entrance will be flush with the grade. And then on the west side of the plan, kind of where I'm pointing, where the other tenants' entrances will be, we're proposing just some ramps and landings to accommodate their entrances there. So that really is, in terms of the site work and the exterior changes, that's what we're proposing. And then in the rear of the property behind the building, at the top of the plan where I'm pointing, we're proposing a trash enclosure with a compactor and a dumpster. So.
Thank you, Paul. So next, our plan just kind of shows the different tenants and how it's being subdivided into the space. We're going to have up to 5. And then also tenant number 5 is taking that first floor space. Over here, we have our proposed renovations to the exterior facade. We have tenant 1 having some build out. Tenant 2 also getting some faux paneling on the front. New openings to kind of match the existing openings that there are now. And then a new exit path for the second floor tenant that will be on this side of the space. That's also, the new openings will match the existing windows using the 5 to 15 foot modules. And then on the back side of the building, where tenant 5 is going to be taking in, we are adding some new windows, modifying the entrance at that space, again, maintaining the 15 foot modules to go along with the aesthetic for the rest of the building. And then here,
I just have one question based on that previous page. On the back, the east elevation, are the dark windows, the gray windows, where they're adding windows?
yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
Just one question.
We wanted to make sure that you guys can notice the difference.
Yes.
And then these are just our proposed renderings of what some of the facade modifications will be. As Paul noted, we're going to have a new ramp system to some of these systems that are at a higher grade, and we removed the grading from here as that floor slab is going to be leveled to match the old conditions. And then on this page, these are showing the dimensions of where tenant 1 and tenant 2 are taking their space, the doors that they're adding for egress purposes and entrances, along with the pergolas that would be added to the facade systems. And then we go into more detail with tenant 1 and 2, including their facade systems and what they anticipate or plan to do. And then we show some of our details, or the proposed details, that show how it's going to integrate with the building facade that currently exists and attaches to said facade. Ken, would this be a good time to talk about the materials?
Sure.
That way, because we're talking about tenant 1 and 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, my name's Ken. I'm with Interior Architects. I was brought on sort of as a to coordinate with tenant 1 and 2 and the landlord team on the storefront expressions here that we're presenting today. And we have brought a bunch of samples. I don't know if you wanted to see those. If I could bring them up to you.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, great. Or is it easier to?
Yeah, one by one, and then, that's fine.
If you could just use the mic too. Thanks.
Okay, so I think if we go to page, let's see, 17. This is kind of a good overview of the tenant finishes proposed. Some pretty sort of standard kind of high quality finishes proposed, including this insulated glass unit. This is a Vitro Solar Band 72. Which meets all energy criteria, but it allows a lot of visibility into the store. So the hope is that you can draw kind of customers into the store. The interior presentation is visible from the exterior, but it does shield the product from damaging sun on the product. Second material here, there's actually 2 samples presented on your desk. the Cove profile, the larger one, is the same as that smaller sort of branded piece exactly. So that is a fly ash composite siding. It has no organic material. It is actually a byproduct of other industrial process. It doesn't take on moisture. It's super stable. It ties into a lot of kind of the local, like vernacular. The thought is that this would get painted. One of the two colors presented up there, which is the Alabaster Benjamin Moore 876. The storefront system, which isn't pictured here, but it is, I guess it ties into the canopy one, storefront one. That metal tube right there is representative of that. So that is what we're proposing for the storefront system for tenant 2, which is the peaked roof facade. All the metal elements there would be color matched to the storefront system. So we'd start with that, and then any brake metal, canopy, vendor, et cetera, would be color matched. So there wouldn't be, contrasting whites, I guess, when that's all said and done. And then the other color, kind of skipping around, but since we're talking about colors, this is a little bit dark. The
green?
The green there. So here it says custom color to match Faro and Ball Studio Green number 93. We've actually found a Benjamin Moore color. I think it's called Calico Blue, which is pretty much exactly the same. I think it's their sort of copy of the Faro and Ball, but more widely available. And in the sort of same, it's easy to source, similar to the other Benjamin Moore colors that the tenant is using on the interior and the exterior. So that,
Even though it's blue and it looks green, or is that?
it's called Calico Blue, but it is green. It's actually a green color.
So that's the color?
That is the color, exactly. So this is a new thing that tenant 1 has been doing, introducing. They're trying to create a more unique exterior expression for their brand. It does actually turn out pretty subtle on the storefront system. It looks really nice. It kind of draws your eye. But I would say that it's in kind of the family of like classic colors. It's not jarring or anything, which is it's really great.
I'm sorry.
So-
I'm sorry. Where's that go? What does that
So
apply to?
so that's actually the rendering. It did turn out a little bit dark, but that's proposed for the tenant 1 space here.
So the window mullions?
The mullions, same deal as tenant 2. The mullions, the canopy, brake metal, everything is meant to match that. And then the brick, that again is just representative of the brick kind of intervention proposed for tenant 1. There's a lot of brick kind of existing at the site, so it's meant to kind of complement that. And again, be pretty harmonious with sort of what's there today. Just sort of defining tenant 1's facade a bit more with the pilasters and kind of detail bands in brick. And then stone base. This stone base is consistent from tenant 1 to 2. That's the Washington black basalt. Very elemental. It's it'll patina really beautifully over time. There's other tenants kind of south of here that have used some of these materials as well, the flame and the cove siding. Is there anything I missed up there? Oh, there's a bronze chip
Pergola?
there.
Or what, canopy, whatever you call that. Is that the wood?
I think it's this, isn't it?
Yes, so that is, the reclaimed wood is, I believe, proposed for the underside of the canopy. Oh no, is it this? Sorry.
Looks like maybe where the plants are hanging off the canopy.
Yeah, it does look like that. So some of the interior fixtures, I believe, are this reclaimed wood. It's not an appropriate actual material for an exterior application because it is reclaimed. So what we've done with other contractors in the past is we sourced some wood, stable wood meant for exterior, worked through, a couple of stain options to match that as close as possible.
But that's what's going to, it will be a wood-like thing up there.
It would be actual wood.
Actual wood.
Yeah, the tenant only uses, actual, no faux materials on the exterior, so it would be an actual wood stained, and a spec such that, a spec that is appropriate for an exterior application, especially one here, with harsher seasons than versus other places in the country.
So these two spaces, 1 and 2, do have tenants then, or?
Yeah, I was confused by that too, because it said in the packet that they were not occupied, but sounds like they are.
Well, 1 and 2 look a little bit more elaborate compared to the
Yeah.
others, so I'm
Correct.
thinking.
So in actuality, all these spaces have tenancy, specific tenancy. 1 and 2, for purposes of architecture and by nature of their tenancy, have a difference so that the facade looks different. The other tenants are, we're adding some windows specifically for the use on the east side, and on the west side, changing some egress, and those egress doors are made because of the occupancy of the tenancy. In this case, the architecture is different than everything else in the building, so that's why it just happens to look different, because this particular tenancy is different than the rest.
The other ones are going with the package deal, and these are not.
The last sample I was just about to mention earlier is there's a bronze metal chip to the very right of the brick.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, so there's a small application of this, but that's the standing seam metal roof on the peaked roof element for tenant 2.
So on tenant 2, there's a wood pergola on each side and then a canopy. Is the canopy closed, for rain protection in the middle?
That is the intent. I just want to make sure. Oh. Yeah. Yes. Yes, so that would be a solid canopy. I think there are, again, canopies similar to this, not in the same development, but south of
Farther
here.
down, yep.
So there would be integrated lighting. It would be solid. It would kind of shield customers from any rain as you are entering the store. So there's a similar element at the the tenant 1 space, just a different color. There's no pergola canopy proposed there, but yes, only the central element is shielding you from the weather.
And these various tenants, will they have some sort of internal access to provide anything that they need for signage? Because for sure, we don't allow raceways, which is probably not what your tenants are proposing anyway, but I know that they're not proposing anything yet, but I just want to make sure that they have access and can do what they need to do.
Absolutely. I think the tenant 1 and 2 are aligned with that 100%. If there was a need for access panels, sometimes there are like 3 access panels just to be able to attach the letter set or whatever it may be if there's a cavity in the wall. The intent is for that to all be concealed, even from the interior.
Okay.
Yeah.
But just that they can do it, and I mean, that you're mindful of it so that down the road, there's a way to do that without running a raceway, because you can't.
Yeah, from what I know, the interior kind of build out it's not super heavy on with sort of layered ceiling and all that stuff. There's it's a little bit open there, so there should be no problem with any access to connect those letters and wire it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, okay, maybe you want to continue along with the other,
Yeah, unless you guys would like to see some more of the details, or that's getting too into the weeds for this.
I think for now, we're okay, and then if we,
Great.
come back with any questions or.
Sounds good, okay. So as we move along, we have tenant 3 and 4. Again, this is just a typical plan showing the mullion system, the door openings, any additional exits for egress purposes, and the proposed ramp for tenant 4 to get into that. And then we have our proposed elevations. Tenant 3 and 4 have a very similar look and feel to almost mimic the existing conditions that are on site today. And all those materials will be consistent with what is existing. We have our details kind of showing what has been done throughout the building to install these windows. And then our proposed renderings for these views, they'll have the black mullions to match the painted brick. And then for tenant 3, we have these little sconces that'll be installed just to add a little pop of light for them. And then we break into tenant 5, which takes up the last space on the front side of the second floor. We're going to be reusing the existing ramp that's there, but extending it partially, just so that they have their entrance or their exit, excuse me. And then on the back side where their main entrance will be, we're proposing those new windows at the 15-foot module to match what is currently existing on that back side. The same with the opening for their entrance. We'll have that 15-foot module. And then we have both the proposed elevations for these. As you can see, we have our proposed windows and our ramp extending. Backside, we are adding in 4 additional windows, and they're going to align with the currently existing windows that have been built in. And these are just some existing condition details of how the windows will be installed and the modules that are being used. They're 15-foot and the 10-foot. So then we have our proposed back view to show we have our entrance, the 2 new windows, the 1, 2, 3, and 4 new windows.
So, I'm sorry, while you're there, I assume the color palette matches the existing?
Yes, it's going to be the black mullions and the same type of glass. And then this is the proposed front side where the exit would be. And we have the 10-foot module, again, using the black mullion system, leaving the existing brick material that's currently there in that area. And then we just have the tenants 3 through 5 materials, which are all just calling out the existing materials that we have, the glass, the black aluminum storefronts, the stainless steel for the railings, the concrete that is being installed for both the exterior and interior use, and the painted white brick, along with, for tenant 3, the sconce that they're proposing. And then the last page is just us noting what the overall existing materials are for the space and showing that they match those materials that are being proposed.
Is the chain link fence part of the refuse area?
That's going to be part of the trash enclosure. That's hidden in the back of the space.
And all the other windows that are on the back now, are they all relatively new as well? Yeah, right?
Yes, that is correct.
They got those approved back in 2021 and installed
Yeah.
after. There may have been some existing windows, but I think they were replaced. And we're matching those windows both in size
Okay. So, but,
The overall is to maintain everything that's been going on, really with the exception of those first two stories on the
understood.
With tenant 5, so that's a two-story
Correct.
tenant. Is there an intention for one of the entrances to be the main entrance, like the downstairs one? That
Yeah,
looks like
the
a
one on
bigger-
the first floor at the back of the space is gonna be their main entrance.
Okay,
So the,
That one of the keys to utilizing that space was to keep the entrance only on the east side. There'll be no entrance, that's only an emergency.
okay, all right.
Because we don't want that parking field will already be too tight, so
Yeah.
any parking for that duplex store is going to be.
Funneled in the back.
Mm-hmm, okay, that makes sense, yep.
Okay, so that's the one that has the extra, like, pad of concrete in front of the entrance, okay.
that's correct.
I may have missed it. Are you putting in all new concrete sidewalks around all these entrances, or?
Can you, sorry to interrupt, but would you mind just using the microphone?
Not a
Thanks.
problem, sorry.
Sorry. So the previous space to the south side of the current building was a different store, Sam Goody's. It was like a collection of small stores that it became part of Lord & Taylor's. When it became part of Lord & Taylor's put a false slab, it's a real slab, but a second slab above the existing, creating that grade and those steps. And so the elevations are going to be returned to what they were originally, so the interior ceiling height will be acceptable to a retail tenant. So where those areas are being changed, obviously there's new, but not through the entirety of every piece of it.
So, still empty in the entire complex would be what's in the corner on the southeast kind of corner? Not southeast corner, but like,
So the tenant number 5, the duplex space, is going to match up adjacent to the hospital space. So there's no vacancy on the second floor. The entirety will be taken. The entirety of the first floor, including the Saxwell Fifth and everything to the left as you face their entrance, will be occupied. And the only spaces that'll continue to be available, subject to leases, would be the garage space and the third floor space,
the old restaurant.
the old restaurant and hair salon.
So then, that signage that is on that main big banner, says 130,000 square feet, whatever it says
That'll
on
go
it.
away.
That'll go away when? As you can tell, I'm on the sign committee as well.
Okay.
And I know that was temporary, but it was temporary for a much longer time than normal for us, anyway.
Right. But they did a pretty good job. They brought us tenants for work that didn't hurt. So let me check. I can get back to the board on it. I don't have a specific date. I didn't ask, and we'd still like to see them, but
Well, maybe you can
I'll push them. When do you want it gone?
describe, well, I don't know
Tomorrow.
if there's a limit on the permit that was issued, but
Yeah.
maybe you can, put a smaller one for the specific space.
Sure.
Because now that space is not available anymore anyway.
Right.
And so, yeah, maybe that can
Yeah,
be-
it's actually, you're right, the number's wrong. Okay. Yeah, I think we can do something. I'm certain we can.
So then, facade-wise, there shouldn't be any more? Well, I don't know. If you said the garage, was that like where the Lord and Taylor received
No, the
deliveries?
loading dock is still there and would continue to be operating. To the right side, as you face the loading dock, adjacent to where the hospital entry is at their northeast location, is a garage. It's, people parked there, they used it that way. There's 2 aluminum colored doors that exist there, and someday we're gonna come to you and explain that we have a use for it, that we'd like to replace those doors with a storefront and finish the space off and do something with it.
So is it visible on this rendering, or no?
No, it's to the right of that, and it's not changing, we're not making any application. We're
No,
not- we're
I'm
not
just
moving.
wondering, I'm trying to visualize where it is, that's all.
It's pretty innocuous. It looks like it's part of the loading. It's just right next to the loading doors.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
It's sitting underneath the north entrance of the hospital. Their east entrance only is a vestibule that goes up, and then they sit over that space. In
Okay,
fact,
so
we
the
might
door-
be
the
coming
garage
and
is,
telling
like,
you the
on either
hospital should
side.
take it, but
The garage is on either side of the
yes.
new vestibule, okay. You know the big new vestibule they're
Yeah.
building in the back? It's on.
Alrighty. So then I think we can open this to a public hearing. I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing on application 25-24, LT Eastchester LLC, 750 White Plains Road.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak regarding this application? Okay. And do we have questions, any further questions, board members?
I'm good, thank you.
I think so.
It looks like it's slowly coming together. I know it takes a
Yes.
long time, but
Oh, feels like a long, long time. There should be other types of businesses that take less time to,
but it's good to see the fresh, new.
the entrances are really coming along on the medical space. I think we're there. I had said before, they were hoping to do an opening July 1. So they're tying up, and that's good. And this generates, it's hard to do the combination without having all the different pieces in an old building. It's not built for multiple tenants. It's built for a department store, so it's putting pieces back together from numerous buildings hobbled together.
Before, yeah. Was a
Before and
chocolate place there one time? and
I
I'm
remember,
sure
that was a
you-
good one.
There was all sorts of, there's a lot of
Deli.
townspeople who have been around for all of the different iterations of that location.
Same with me. I used to stock shelves there,
Oh, really?
absolutely.
Good memories, I hope. Okay, so any more questions or comments? You guys? Okay, so then, I'm sure to your pleasure, I'd like to make a motion to refer application.
You can just close, just as a procedural matter,
Oh,
close the
close
hearing
the public
first and
hearing,
then-
sorry.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing for application 25-24.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Righty. And then I'd like to make another motion to refer application 25-24, LT Eastchester LLC, to the planning board with a recommendation to approve as submitted. And I don't think there were any other changes or recommendations to consider?
Yeah, I didn't hear any.
Okay.
Oh, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. All righty. And then I'd like to adjourn our meeting, right? We don't have any other further business for tonight.
Yep.
Thank you very much, and
All right, we'll see
Good
you
luck
at the
with your next-
signage meeting.
yes,
See you at
absolutely.
the planning board meeting and the sign.
Yes.
And
So
we'll
I'd like,
hope to see you shopping there and having medical procedures.
I'd like to make a motion to close the, to adjourn the meeting, May 1st, 2025 ARB meeting. The next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, June 5th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you very much. Good night, Eastchester.
Thank you.